Welcome to the webinar for AI and photo booth upload. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We're very excited to share this with you guys today. Thank you for everybody who is joining us from all over the globe. We are LA Photo Party, and we've been in the business 16 years. We do hardware, software, and events. And today we're going to be talking about our software, AI, which is unlocked in photo booth upload. We're going to introduce ourselves first up. He needs no introduction, but we're going to do it.
I'm David Miller, the owner here at LA Photo Party.
I'm Chad Coe. I run hardware and software sales for the company.
All right, so we're going to start off just with some general AI information and tips and tricks, and then we're going to get into the PBU of it all. So if we go up to that next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of AI you've probably seen, starting with generative chat, and then image generation and image alteration. So just a real quick touch on chat. You probably have seen this type of stuff if we keep moving these slides forward from ChatGPT. So that's where you write a prompt like, write me a short paragraph about how awesome LA Photo Party is. And ChatGPT or one of these others will do that for you. And of course, awesome. It has no problem writing about how awesome LA Photo Party is because everybody knows, even ChatGPT, as you can see here. So we're going to move quickly on to the image stuff because that's what we're here for. So another thing you can do with chat is send in a prompt to create an image. So this was a prompt I asked for. A group of people all watching a Zoom webinar, super excited about what they're seeing. And this is what I got back. I'm sure this is exactly what you all look like at home or at work looking at this stack. So that's creating an image essentially just out of your text, out of something you asked for. If we go to the next one, it's image alteration. And now we're getting into what you'd likely use in a photo booth capacity, because you're taking a photo of your guests like this one here, and then you're using a prompt that you type in to get something else out. So you can see a number of examples here on the side, like futuristic tech or a Barbie doll look or a cartoon look and some other stuff. So that's kind of what we're talking about here for PBU and in photo booths, is how to get cool stuff out of your photos with AI.
I love it. Love it. Hey, quick shout out to our tech team, marketing, Alex, Paris, and Paul Kulos behind the cameras. Thank you guys for making this happen. I'm going to talk a little bit about, okay, AI in the photo booth industry, right? So the two different types are face swap and generative, right? So face swap is basically like it sounds, it's taking your face and putting it on an AI image. Let's move that next slide forward.
And take your face.
Yeah, take your face off. Much like the John Travolta Nicolas Cage film, if you guys remember that hit, John Woo. Anyway, so face swap. So that's kind of like your first kind of rung of the ladder into AI in the photo booth industry. So what's important about this, the pros of it is it's quick, it's controllable, right? We can do it. It's gonna look good. But the cons are kind of it's repetitive, and the interpretations on identity or diversity is a little rough. So we're going to see this example, and you guys will see what I'm talking about. So we have 4 different people doing a face swap, right? 3 men, 1 woman. They all look pretty similar. There's slight differences. We see David's goatee, different stuff. The image itself looks really awesome, which is great. That's the power of AI. But AI works with how you talk to it, right? How you prompt it. We're going to be getting into, specific and different types of prompts in a little bit. So that's face swap. So let's go to the next slide to the generative, right? So now generative can be much more creative. Each photo is unique. Most of what we're going to be talking about is how we do generative in our photo booth upload software. And then you can guide it with these specific prompts. So let's go into generative AI. And this sample will kind of explain a little bit of different, right? So if I do something like move my hair, or there's 2 of us, David and I, what up? It's going to replicate that. Or if I'm holding a prop, right? So face swap was just taking my face, John Travolta, off. Whereas generative AI is going to be matching and mirroring what we do, which is kind of the most exciting thing to do, both in social or corporate events. All right. A little food for thought, Dave.
All right.
You want to hit us?
So yeah, we're going to be really focusing on the generative side for the rest of this. Both are going to be available in PBU, but you can get a lot more creative and do some cool stuff in generative. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. And I'm going to start by talking about a little bit how to use the tool of AI, what are its strengths and weaknesses. to help kind of guide you going forward, because every tool, you want to know how to use it to its best ability. So the way I think about it is AI is really good at being creative, but it struggles if you want to get more specific. So here's an example of that. If I give a prompt to create an image, a cool space scene with the moon in the foreground and celestial bodies like planets, rings, nebulas, etc., in the background, that is a very creative prompt, and you can see what type of output it comes from an AI image generator, is really cool. And it knows what planets and moons and things are, and it was able to follow the prompt really well. But if we get a little bit more specific and start putting things in there that the AI might not know, let's see what happens. So here's a more specific prompt. Cool space scene with the moon in the foreground, celestial bodies like planets, rings, nebulas, etc. in the background, with David Miller and Chad Coe sitting on the moon on folding chairs while playing a game of chess and eating bagel bites. So really
very specific,
much more specific, and we can see the output. And at first, it looks kind of cool, but if you look closely, you might realize it doesn't really know what bagel bites are. We've got like some donuts there. The two astronauts, it didn't know who Chad and I were, so it just made astronauts, but they're smoking. But even just not knowing, it doesn't just like miss out on those features. It starts getting really confused, and you might get, if you look closely and on the right there, a three-legged astronaut with a snorkel coming out of its helmet.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. Good. So again, once you get so specific that the AI doesn't know the terms you're talking about or exactly what you want, it can go off the rails. So you really want, using AI, you want to give it a chance to be creative and do the things it can do well. And of course, there's tools and things you can learn to help it and get more specific, but as a general rule of thumb, try and use the tool for what it's best at and really be creative with it. So here's a specific example from a photo booth event. We were working with Salesforce. That's where some of those samples you saw earlier with the woman with the crazy hair were from. And they originally asked if we could incorporate their mascots into the AI, doing all sorts of crazy things. And they have like 20 mascots, and they're all very specific and different creatures and things like you can see here. And really the answer was we could not. The AI didn't know these mascots. It could make like a cartoon fox, but it wasn't their cartoon fox. It could create a cartoon elephant, but it wasn't their cartoon elephant. So it didn't quite work. And we worked with them to give them a bunch of options that did work with AI, and we had a really successful event. So some pretty cool stuff we were able to do with them, and some little lesson on how best to use AI there. So I know you're all waiting for it, but what comes next, Chad?
AI in PBU. Very exciting. So guys, we're going to show you guys some samples, and then we're going to get into the actual software, take some photos, do it live, and look at the settings. So let's jump into and take a look at some of the cool things that we can do with PBU AI. So PBU AI is going to start with about 9 different presets, and then you can make your own custom prompt.
Wait, you can make your own ones?
You can make your own one. If we had an echo effect, we would do it, guys. Okay. Anyway, you can make your own, or you can do 9 custom, right? You know, the Barbie doll, golf. We have old, young. We have steampunk, punk, all different types of fun stuff. Let's check out that next fun sample slide. Awesome. Yeah, some more of these fun little things. Yeah, superhero. You've seen the original. You're seeing it turn into it. Really fun stuff. And once again, this is the generative showing it. Okay, cool. So let's do one more, and then let's jump into awesome. These are 8 people right here. We got the steampunk, we got the old, we got the punk, we got superhero. Amazing. Awesome. Let's see it live in action. I'm going to pop up here. And
as Chad is setting up the Infinite to share the PBU screen, and you can see how it all works from start to finish. If anybody has questions, pop them in the chat, and we're going to try and get to those at the end.
Awesome. Cool. All right, let's go into my floating screen. Boom. Awesome. So we are in photo booth upload, and I'm 6'5", so I'm getting low here. But so I'm gonna hit AI, and we have the different the different presets all set up here. So I'm gonna scroll over here. I'm gonna click doll, right? And the first thing you guys are gonna notice is that these things right here are variables. So I'm gonna select male and Caucasian, and I'm basically guiding the AI into what different buckets we're gonna do for the prompts. So I'm gonna hit this. We get a little countdown. 3, 2, 1. Great. Took a beautiful photo. Oh my gosh. No screenshots, guys. Anyway, so we're going to do that. And then I'm going to jump into the settings here and walk you through a little bit of what we just did. So I'm going to hit AI in the AI tab. We're going to come over here and I'm going to pop over to this doll that we just did. Okay, so right here, you guys are going to see that we have positive prompts and we have negative prompts. So positive prompts are basically anything you want the AI to do. Negative prompts would be anything you don't want it to do. So in here, it might say no deformed hands, right? We don't want 8 fingers on our hand. We want 5, right? So we want to tell it exactly what we want it to do and what we don't want it to do, right? And what's cool about this too is that you can add things and you can customize the presets or you can create your own from scratch. Now we're going to go, so that was positive prompts, negative prompts. Now we go over to variables and we'll see these are some of the things that I was selecting before I took the photo, right? Gender, hair color, glasses, ethnicity, all those different things help guide into the different buckets that the AI is going to send using the prompts. And then over here, we have this thing called AI adjustment, denoise strength. So all of this right here is going to basically tell you how much of the original photo to use and how much of the AI generation you want, right? So on this specific preset, we're going to do, we're 50% down the middle. One I'm going to do in a little bit, I think it's about 65%. So you're going to play with it. But these presets are set up so that it's basically set up for you guys to be successful with your image. Anything else you want to add while I'm talking about those, David?
I think that really covers it.
Great. Okay, cool. So let me go over to our thing and take a look at, we have some different presets. So right here, this is the doll that I just did, right? So we'll see the original and we'll see the doll, right? And then here's David doing a steampunk. Show some quick, fun examples. Here's me doing a little steampunk. Here's my superhero real quick that I did earlier. What other kind of fun ones do we have? All right, let's jump back in and I'm gonna do my little punk action. So we're gonna do another sample. All right, so I'm jumping back up, clicking AI. I'm gonna go to punk. Now you're gonna notice the variables are gonna be slightly different, right? So male. On this one, I'm gonna tell which hair color I want to have it put in, right?
Green. People want to see green.
Green. Fine, David. That's my turn, but whatever. All right. So, okay, same as before. We'll do the same thing. I'm going to click 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to rock out. Cool. Don't worry about that photo. Awesome. And then let's go back into the settings and show you exactly what that was again. So we go to punk. And I just want to point out a couple of these that are in here. So you'll see that we have positive prompts, ripped punk clothes, right? So you got your classic like punk jacket, blue jean jacket. These are the things that we're telling it to include, right? Also, we don't want in the negative prompts, we don't want low resolution, we don't want blurry eyes, we don't want deformed eyes, we don't want poorly drawn. Some of these things that we learned from playing around with these different stuff. And then that variable we talked about before, the hair color, we told it what to include. And some of the variables you'll say, this is the hair color I have, I want to retain it. This is the hair color I want. And then you'll notice in the AI adjustment, on the last one, it was 50%. This one's 65%. So we're saying we want more of the AI generated.
We want more punk rock.
We always want more punk rock. All right. All right. So let's go and take a look at our sample here. So that's David being a cartoon. So that's not it. But let me pop over here and we'll see. Woo! Okay, so it looks like I'm a bit of a punk rocker. Also, I might be auditioning for the new Joker, which is this is the one I did earlier.
I didn't know you had so many tattoos, Chad.
I know. They just pop up. This is all makeup. I'm tatted up from head to toe. But it's cool. And you'll see like on this one, I had a little bit more of the kind of the blue jean and the jacket versus this one I just did, just depending. So sometimes it's like, the attendant, working with the guest and interacting and being like, okay, we, show more of this. Don't get your hands in your face. Any other kind of tips for working with the guest in the space?
I will say that it does work best, especially if you want to like see the face of the guest doing like a headshot or like waist up type of thing. You can certainly do full body shots, but as you get further away, you're getting like less of that AI processing magic, on the guest face. And that's usually what people want to see.
And another quick note is when you're using multiple people, how I understand is that each person, the one is going to look the best, and then it's going to continue to kind of go. So if you have a group of 10 people, it's tougher for the AI than one or two or three, right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to that. That concludes the demo portion of our webinar.
One other tip and thing we wanted to share is to think about privacy. There's a lot of concerns out there with privacy in AI and whether the photos are going to be shared or used with third parties or used to train models. And so our AI system works on our own server that we have full control over, and the images coming in. So those are not used to train models. They're not shared with third parties. They're not doing anything except sending those files back to you. So if you have concerns or your clients have concerns about privacy, you can assure them that these photos are not going to be used for anything else.
Yeah, awesome. Let's get into, well, what does this cost? How much is this?
$1 million.
Oh. No, please no. So basically what it is to unlock AI in our photo booth upload software. It's going to be $299, and we're offering $199 for beta users right now. So if you guys haven't already, the QR code that's on the screen right now, use that, or if it's in the chat, go to that form, sign up. How the beta test is going to run is that it's going to be first come, first serve, and then we're going to invite people in batches. And then as far as the pricing goes for each individual AI photo, it's 25 cents for a regular rendered image, and then it's 50 cents if you want a super high-res image, right? David, how do you pay for this and charge for this at an event?
That's a good question, Chad. Can't believe you just thought of that.
Yeah.
Didn't read it. To give you guys an idea of the other side of pricing, what to charge clients, I'm just going to be transparent with our event pricing. We charge between $1,000 and $1,500 per hour for AI events, plus a fee to create a new prompt for the client if they don't want a preset, and that's between $3,000 and $5,000. So for like a 3-hour event, you're looking between $6,000 and $10,000, and more for all-day events or multi-day events. Of course, I know everybody's in different markets and different pricing schemes, but that is transparently what we charge, and I think you can kind of get an idea of what you can charge on your end for that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's important that there's a prompt fee, and then there's like an hourly fee for the actual event. And then it's always important that you have to be able to explain it, which we spent some time talking about how to talk about it. You have to be able to explain it, you have to be able to show it, and then you have to be able to do it, and we can help you with all three of those things. Okay, that's our pricing, and then let's get into our Q&A section. We have how many people do we have popping in from all over the globe here? Yeah, a lot of people. Let's take some questions and see.
What's the average processing time?
The average processing time is around 30 to 45 seconds. It'll depend on how complex of a prompt you have. And if you do those larger images, it'll be about twice as long. But it's about 30 seconds or so right now for most of the presets we have here.
One of the people who joined wanted to know, is it locally or cloud-based? And is it Wi-Fi dependent?
Is it locally or cloud-based, and is it Wi-Fi dependent?
It is cloud-based. That way we can use super powerful cloud-based computers and get those photos back. The AI is just not capable of processing on most home-based and photo booth capable computers. So you do absolutely need a strong internet connection, whether Wi-Fi or wired, and it processes it up on a server. Now it does use, like a lot of our other sharing stuff, they'll use a queue to save things if you don't have internet and get those back down and things like that to make sure you get those photos in the end. But it is cloud-based.
How is it when more people are
How is it when more people are in the picture? So I mentioned this a little bit before, but basically it is going to deteriorate a little bit as you add more and more people. So I think, I don't know, it's probably good up to like, 5 to 7 or something.
You can get some general, still good shots that people like with that many. Essentially, the way I think about it is the power is kind of being divided by everything in the photo. So if you have one person in the photo, they're getting all of that AI power. If you get two, like they each get half, it's still pretty cool. If you get three, they each get a third. It might do a little, but not as much. But we've had big groups in that Salesforce event and some of our other events all pop in. And it's not, you don't get like as much stuff in it, but it's still cool and people have fun with it. We did have that example with 2 people on one of the earlier slides as well. You can kind of get an idea. You still get a really good output with 2, and then it starts getting a little bit less and less as you get more people.
Yeah, and it's important to also just, when you're talking to your clients, be able to, deliver those expectations and explain, what it is so that, they know what to expect.
When they're taking the photo, do they see the at the booth, or do they have to wait until it's generated at the sharing station?
So the question is, when they take the photo at the photo booth, do they see it right away on the photo booth, or do they have to wait until they see it on the sharing station?
It's a great question, Chad. So they do have to wait right now until seeing it on the sharing station, because there's that 30 seconds to a minute that you don't really want to wait at the photo booth. We are adding more features as we go with this to work similarly to the video processing preview, if you've ever used that, where you can share the image before it's actually done processing, and it'll queue and wait until it's sending that final process image. So you can do the sharing on PBU even before the final image is done, and that final image will get shared out.
Yeah. So you'll see somebody take the photo and then go over and then be like, "Oh my God, that's the thing! Oh my goodness!" And they'll go crazy with their, if it was at like a bar mitzvah or something like that, the kids would go nuts over the sharing. What's the next question?
I have a question about the price. Is a one-time add-on price, or how does that 199 price work?
Yeah, once you pay to unlock that price, then that price is and then it's just a per image fee. If you are on photo booth upload annual, then you're set up to pay every year. So it doesn't really work like that, but
yeah. So the PBU pricing is one time for your license, just like all the other PBU pricing, and the PPU, the processing costs are as you go to essentially just cover the cost of the servers to process these that are ongoing.
So if you don't use it, it's not charging you for not using it. Is that what you're saying with the PPU?
Correct. You would
not. It's only charging when you're using it. Yeah.
That's a good business model, though. Let's charge people the things they're not using.
We're not doing that. Yeah.
So how big is the standard resolution size?
The standard resolution for AI photos for us and across the board is 512 by 512. The larger images are 720 by 720. AI is advancing really quickly. I expect those to get larger as time goes on, and also just for things to keep continually getting better, because the software is just getting better and better with time.
I just want to make a quick point. In this industry, it's so important to kind of like be in the new thing when it's happening. And when you're able to do that, you're able to take advantage of being able to charge quite a bit for it and be able to, ride the wave of when there's a new change and all that stuff. And so we're kind of in the very beginning of all of this. So it's very exciting. And we've been looking for the next new trend for a bit, and we're in it right now.
People are asking at the very end if you're willing to take a 2-person photo.
Oh, should we do a 2-person photo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we want to do other questions first, just for logistics, sake?
Yeah.
Does the processing time, is that affected by your internet speed at the venue?
Not really. Of course, the photo has to get up to the internet, and then it does the processing and get down. Generally, it's that processing time in the middle is most of that time. If you have a really slow internet, it's going to add to that. But in general, no, it's the server time is really 98% of that time.
Carlos is asking if PBU is doing AI processing and you're also taking photos separately, does it get kind of backed up and tied up in the processing as the event is going on? How does that backlog your catalog of images that will be showing up in the PPU sharing station?
Yeah, so the question was really, can you do other things besides AI at the same time in PBU? Can you give people options? He was asking about doing photo and AI, but this applies to GIFs or video as well. You can set up all of those options. The AI processing, especially because it's on the cloud, won't interrupt the process of the other photos or videos or GIFs that you are working on.
Yeah, so yes, you can do multiple features with AI and photo GIF.
People are curious about which generative AI API we are using.
People are asking which API we are using. We are...
None of your business. No, I'm just kidding.
We didn't really talk about it, but we're going to share that info. We are using an open source AI so that we are able to customize it to ourselves. So I'll leave it there, and you probably could figure out what it is if you're interested in AI.
Yeah. But the beautiful thing about what we're doing and what we experience and with most of our features, we do them out in events first and we kind of test them. And then we kind of ask the question, is this something that we can offer to other people? Like, can we add something to the market? And we were finding that the prompt system was difficult. Was there a way to kind of, have that learning curve and make it more simple and set those things up? Because we have this like wild computer scientist who some of you know called Joey, and not everybody has a Joey. So we basically packaged
Hot packaged?
Hot Pocket, Bagel Bites and Hot Pockets. Anyway, next question.
Can you reprocess an image that's been taken of a guest, or do you have to redo the entire photo?
All right, the question was, can you reprocess an image of a guest? Right now, you cannot. It's one time only, but that's already on our development calendar to add, along with a bunch of other quality of life improvements to just make it easier or to handle those edge cases. So that's coming soon.
So basically, they'll take a photo. If they want a different version, they can hit a redo button and it'll generate one.
Yes. So I don't know if people heard that because Paul's not mic, but essentially there will be a redo or reprocess button that you're able to select a photo to send and redo.
Yeah.
Is the pricing per account or per like computer? How does the
PBU pricing would be per PBU license, just like any other PBU pricing, and obviously the image server costs are per image.
Yeah. So if you have 5 photo booths, it'd be 5 licenses.
Neil Shore has a question, wants to ask it live.
Ooh.
Oh, we have
a doing it live question.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can handle it.
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right. So 2 quick questions. One, I know the fee, it's either 25 cents or 50 cents for the processing. And then is there the additional 10-cent?
I saw the hand raise.
Oh. And then is there the additional 10-cent fee per picture?
Stand by.
Oh, they're asking, is it an additional 10 cents PPU fee per picture, or is it just the one-time like AI fee?
So how does the PPU fees fit in with the AI generation fees? So those are kind of independent. The PPU fees are generally on sharing. So if somebody takes an AI photo and then shares it, it would both be the processing side covering the server and the sharing side, the standard email or text message or your per event or unlimited or whatever your plan you're on for the sharing side.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in the back end, when you were listing all of the, what did we call it, positive and negative things there. So that's basically to create my AI image, correct? So instead of me having to do it on my own through ChatGPT or whatever, I just put in the positives, I put in the negatives, and it's going to generate my background picture for me through your platform, correct?
It's asking about the backgrounds are generated by AI specifically and if you had a background behind you or green screen or anything like that, the AI is going to be generating the background.
Yes, the AI will be generating the background. And it's actually interesting. So it can be depending on what you're looking for, but in a lot of cases, you kind of want some stuff happening in the background for real. So it gives the AI something to work off of. Because again, it's using the stuff in the picture, the chat, the background, and then adding that prompt to it and mixing it up. So if you have just a black background or just a white background, it doesn't have as much to work with. So we did events where we would use like a sequin backdrop just so there was, colors and stuff there, or other types of backgrounds. You can point out to the party so you have stuff going on and it can do more. Again, it depends exactly what you're looking for. If you want that Barbie doll look on a white backdrop, you still use a white backdrop, cases like that.
Okay, last question for you. Let's say I'm doing an event for a local sports team, and I want to essentially, it's probably a face swap, and I want to put the user in the uniform. Can I upload my own picture to be face swapped onto?
So if they're using it for face swap and they want to use it for a sporting event where something they're going to put on the body of an athlete, would they be able to upload their own photo? Did I understand that correctly, Neil?
Yes, correct. So, can you upload the Philadelphia Phillies if you have the rights?
You would upload the photo you want to swap the face into. So the example we showed was that generic, superhero photo, and then we added faces to it. So the answer is yes, you would add a photo or upload your photo that you want to face swap into. I will say if you're doing something like a sporting event, we just had this inquiry come in for the Super Bowl, but you got to be careful if you're doing face swap. If you upload a photo of Travis Kelce and put everybody's face in it, do you have the copyright for that? Do you have the logos of the teams on the jerseys, things like that? Because at that point, you are really using that photo, and you got to deal with all of the copyright potential concerns.
Taylor Swift could be upset with you, and all the
people
again. Yeah. Stop calling, Taylor.
Thank you. Becky is asking, do we get any free images to learn the software, or if they're like setting up an event?
Yeah, so there's all the examples we showed today come with the PBU. They'll be ready to go. You can use them directly, and you can also go in and edit them, see how they're made, copy the prompts to play with your own.
I think specifically they're asking, like, you know, when you're doing a test event, and you're not charged for image generation. Are you charged for image generation?
So yes and no. It'll work like how PPU works currently, where if you do an event with less than 10 shares, if you do an event with less than 10 generations, we're still working out how some of the budget stuff, the billing stuff works, because it's kind of complicated on the back end, but that's the idea. So you'll have a little bit to test with, but also if you think about it, if it's 25 cents a pop, if you're talking about spending $5 to test 20 different things, but we're going to try and make it easy for people.
AI is currently in for still images, not for GIFs or earnings, correct?
Correct. AI is just for still images, not GIFs or bootlegs.
Jason's asking if overlays can be added to the photos, and I'm assuming that they can be.
Yeah, so the question was about adding overlays to the photos, and Paul got it just right, but on the mic, it's you can add the overlays in PPU so that they're added after the generation happens, and you can still get those logos in there for your clients.
Is the original image stored in case someone wants it without the AI?
Is the original image stored? Yes, the original image is stored, and you have the option of sending that to your output folder, your watch folder as well, which is what we had over here. So when Chad was showing the examples in kiosk, you could go between the AI version and the original, but that's an option. If you want just the outputs, AI outputs in the watch folder, you can do that as well.
Yeah, because I'm sure some people would like to show a before and after. To be able to be like, look what happened.
In face swap, use a high resolution, the resolution of a source image.
Face swap does have more options for higher resolution. Yes, some caveats there. I won't get into the tech, but in general, yes.
Riho is asking if the backdrop affects the image, but you've already said yes.
Yes, backdrop does affect the image. Yeah, you're generating a backdrop. Yep.
People want to know if this will be visible on the PBU Facebook group later on.
I believe we are saving this call, and we'll be sharing it out on an email and on the Facebook group, I'm sure, as well.
We'll be sharing. And we'll also be at Photo Booth Expo showing off some of this stuff. I'm sure a lot of you will be there as well. So that's a kind of fun little plug for what's next.
Can you take a photo
of
you, and I'll continue to ask some questions.
All right.
So
let's do it together. All right. So let me share again.
Yeah, just hit the green share screen. There we go.
I'm going to share their screens.
All right.
And if you have more questions, you can go ahead and pop them in the chat, and we'll make sure those get answered as well.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Switch to PBU.
All right. Boom. Which one we want to do, Dave?
Let's do a cartoon.
Cartoon?
Sure.
All right. Let's go mail. We'll do Caucasian.
While that's happening, David, Cass is asking, is it possible to have the AI only affect the people and not the background?
No, not if you. Oh, so the question is it possible for the AI to affect just the people and not the backdrop? And if you're doing generative AI, the answer is no, because you're sending a single image to the AI system and it is manipulating that. There are ways to tweak that some. So you're doing more to the people and less to the backdrop. Those were some of the settings we showed earlier, that denoise strength and some other options. Some of those do control how much you're doing to the people, but there's not a way to do like totally 100% and 0%.
Can you tell us a little bit more about selling this to a client and like who's wanting a specific art style and how to describe style versus theme versus prompt?
Yeah. So the question is how to sell this to a client and talk about the different theme versus style. I mean, I think with most kind of selling events, I think it starts with what are they trying to do? What is the theme of the event? Like Super Bowl, what's the hero of it? Or, is it a sponsorship? What's going on? And then out of that comes the collaborating with them and pitching certain ideas. It depends if you have something that's preset versus something custom. But as you get to kind of understand it a bit more, you get to kind of understand like, oh, okay, this is what's doable, within it. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think that's right. I'll add that it goes back to me. The way I think about it again is that creative or specific stuff. And a lot of times clients might ask you for something very specific, and you need to be able to turn that into something creative that the AI can do. So another example of that is we were asked to copy like an artist's very specific style. They wanted to be like this guy's thing, and it was like a cartoonish artist style. And we played with that in the AI, and I mean, in addition to the copyright issues, like the AI didn't quite understand that style exactly. But we created some samples just using the generic terms, the creative terms. Like I said, it was a cartoonish style. So we said, cartoon and bright colors and the other things in the style. And we were able to create something that was similar enough, and the client really liked it. And we did that event. So again, shifting the, okay. Let's move on to the next question. That covers it.
How much are you charging to clients for this?
So I went over how much we're charging to the clients in that call, but I'll repeat really quickly. To our clients, event clients, we're charging between $1,000 and $1,500 per hour, plus $3,000 to $5,000 for generating a new prompt if they don't want to do a preset, plus our other add-ons that we have in general for events. So you're looking at between $6,000 and $10,000 for a like 1 day, 1 evening event, and more for full days or multi-days.
Matt is asking if you have multiple people of different races and genders in the photo, how would that work when selecting your settings?
Yeah, so you've got a few options. You could leave out the questions, which do like the AI can do things without those questions. The questions, the variables help it. So you could leave that as out because there's a little trade-off there. Or if you're going to have multiple people, you could actually have multiple questions in there and build it into the prompt that one person of ethnicity being a punk rocker and a second person of ethnicity 2 being a punk rocker, and have both of those variables in there building in through the prompt.
Is it possible, Zach is asking, you can output a custom page design or print layout where it's a before and after of like the photo?
That's a good idea.
And the AI image.
All right. So the question was, can you set up a single output image that's a before and after of the image? Currently, no, but we are, like I said, doing a lot of these quality of life improvements to handle more cases and do more stuff with it, including combining it like with green screen and page design and other places where you would be able to do that. So I think that's going to be coming down the line.
Yeah.
You can have both, like I said, the original and output going to the kiosk, so people could share both back to back and get them in an email to have that before and after.
Yeah, and it's good to kind of just keep in mind that so this is our beta right now, and by the time we're releasing it, there'll be some more updates, and as we understand more what people want and what people need with all of our different features, things get more advanced, and you can get really kind of super advanced with a lot of different
that is
features,
a really good point. I mentioned before too how quick AI is moving. We've already got additional features in testing that aren't ready for the beta yet. It's still kind of in alpha to improve the quality and be able to do more. I think we've got the 2-person cartoon output here. Are we still sharing our screen, or do we need to turn on screen share?
Showing your screen. Do you want to show the example?
So go back to kiosk, and let's minimize. There we go. So that is our 2-person cartoon example. You can see I did handle both people fairly well without going crazy, but it's not as detailed as a single person's face would be if they were right in the middle.
Messed up my teeth a little bit. So I'll take it.
Sure, blame it on the AI.
And I wonder sometimes, like, if, because I was a little in front of David, like versus us on the same plane. I mean, with playing with it, like what helps things become more effective.
The closer you are to the camera.
Yeah, you distance the camera, lighting, if it's a really dark image, if you don't have your flash settings, like David said before, what's in the background, if it's flat versus if it has some kind of texture, it can give you more of a cool background.
Yeah.
And
you can see, going back to one of the other questions about the background, this prompt is made where it doesn't do much to the background because it's really just affecting what's in there and turning people into cartoons rather than like creating a new thing like the punk rock was doing with the shirts in the background. So it's a good example of how you can tweak those prompts to get what you need and be really flexible and creative with it.
Yeah. Maybe just the last couple questions and then we'll wrap up, I think.
Can you change the processing model on the back end? For example, can you transfer from Stable Diffusion versus SDXL or other model processors as they get released?
So that was a very specific question about how the model works on the back end. You are not able to change those directly. There's a lot that goes into changing that type of stuff. And we wanted to make this really accessible and able to use, so really anybody can use it without knowing those tech details. So we're constantly working on upgrading those as AI is advancing and using new stuff. But on the front end, we want to keep it really accessible and easy for you guys to generate new cool stuff without knowing all of those tech details.
One of the last questions I think we have here is from Becky asking how Vivi is doing and if he's going to be at PBX.
The question was, how is Vivi doing and will he be at PBX?
Vivi is doing all right. I talked to him last week. He's not going to be at PBX. He's doing other stuff, and it's a long road, but I know he's appreciated everybody's well wishes and reaching out, and he has been doing much better. So thank you for asking.
Thank you. Yeah. I think that's all the questions that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you guys did not sign up for the beta, do that right now. And, make sure we're going to be reaching out with you guys, everybody who was part of the webinar, and we'll be there for questions and helping you guys get through the beta. And hopefully there's just a ton of amazing events in the AI world, and we can all make a ton of really great money in our industry.
Sounds good. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Chad.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Chad.
Thanks, David. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.